all of you. Start the class with the prayer mantras. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsavitravare Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma Satgamya Tamso ma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sahna Bhavatu Sahna Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahi Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. For the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to understand some Vedic terminology so that when we study our scriptures, we just don't get lost into these terms. Okay, and the way these lectures are formed is based upon how many numbers in these particular categories. So it's a categories by the numbers. So we were done with the categories of 6. So like a 6 parts to that particular word. So today we are going to start with the 7. This is called a Sapta Puri. There are 7 places, holy places in India. I mean, there are several, but these 7 are called together Sapta Puris. Okay. Number 1 is Ayodhya. That is the birthplace of Bhagwan Ram. Then there's a Mathura. That is a birthplace of Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna, Mathura. Then there's a Haridwar. That is associated with the Lord Vishnu. Then there's a Varanasi. Yesterday in Mahabharata we were reading about that, associated with the Lord Shiva. Then there's a Kanchipuram, associated with the goddess Parvati. Then there's a Ujjain, Lord Shiva. Then Dwarika, Lord Krishna. So these are called Saptapuris. Saptapuri means a city also. So 7 cities: Ayodhya, Mathura, Haridwar, Varanasi, Kanchipuram, Ujjain, and Dwarka. And I'm sure you have heard these names. These are holy places. Then when we are on the path of yoga, the very first day, we are not going to get enlightened. I'm talking about majority of the people. There are some Jivan Mukta personalities, they are different. Some avatars, they are different. I'm talking about human beings like us. In Yoga Vashishta, Rishi Vashishta, and even in Yoga Darshan, Rishi Patanjali, they mentioned the 7 stages of climbing up. 7 stages. They called them Saptabhumi. 7 stages. Starts with the Shubhecha. Shubhecha means all your wishes become auspicious. Shubh means auspicious. The desires, they change from the worldly to godly. From me to God. Shubhecha. Then comes Vicharna. That is the next stage. You start reflecting upon the words of the Guru. Vichar. After doing that reflection, Your intellect becomes very subtle. That is a third stage, Tanu Manasi, subtle thinking. You don't just think about the form, you start thinking about the essence in the form. Tanu Manasi. So these first three stages are elementary stages. Shubhecha Vicharna Tanu Manasi. Then once you start thinking subtly, then you want to absorb in that. Because you start drawing the bliss from there, you want to absorb yourself into it. That is called a Sattvapati. Okay, from elementary, you have climbed up to the middle. From there happens asasankti. That means you don't like the union with the Maya. This is called a non-union with the Maya. And Maya is what? Anything other than God is Maya. So this is a very high stage. Let me repeat again. Shubhecha Vicharna Tanu Manasi Sattvapati Asasangati. You don't like to be in the company of worldly people. You don't like to be not only gossiping, but even listening to the gossip. Doesn't interest you anymore. Anything material, you think it's not for me. And from there comes Padartha Abhavna. That is the seventh stage. Non-ideation of objects. Those objects are there, but you really don't have anything to do with them. So this comes after asasangati. See, asasangati is you make an effort, you don't want to be with Maya. Over here, Padartha Bhavana, the Maya is there, it doesn't affect you. You can be in the middle of the Maya, but you don't drown in it. Then after that, the seventh one is called Turyaga. That is Samadhi. You are totally emerged, have become one with God. Your little soul is one with the Supreme. Okay, so these are the technical names. It's called together, it's called the Sapta Bhumi. 7 stages of on this ladder of progress. So Shubhecha Vicharna Tanumanasi Sattvapati Asasangti Padartha Abhavna and Turyaga. Okay. See, idea behind this class is so that you get familiarized with all these terms. So I'm not going too much into detail because in other scriptures we do. Over here, just know with the help of these categories, these terms. Now the next one is, there are Sapta Rishis. Sapta Rishis. And you might see that these names change from time to time because in different manvantras, different eras, the names are different. These 7 are for current Chaturyogi. Sapta Rishi. Rishi Vishwamitra. Rishi Gautam. Rishi Atri. Rishi Vashishta. Rishi Kashyap. Rishi Bhardwaj. And Rishi Jamadagni. I'm sure you're familiar with these names if you have studied Ramayana, if you have studied other scriptures, Upanishads also. This Jamadagni is a father of Parshuramji. Okay? Jamadagni. So you want me to repeat it again? Vishwamitra, Rishi Gautam, Rishi Atri, Rishi Vashishta, Rishi Kashyap, Rishi Bhardwaj, and Rishi Jamadagni. These are the Sapta rishis. Okay, Rishi Vishwamitra and Rishi Vashishta, Lord Ram, he learned from them, got blessings from them as a young boy. So you see these names over and over again in the scriptures. Then we are all yoga students. In Hatha Yoga, there are 7 steps. Hatha Yoga. What are those? Shatkaram, the cleansings. Asan, the postures. Pranayam, breathing techniques. Mudras. Mudras are advanced asanas with the help of the pranayam and staying in that position to get relief from certain ailments. Mudras. And having this mind fully controlled. Mudras. Pratyahar, sense control. Dhyan is meditation, and samadhi is super absorption. So these are the 7 steps of Hatha Yoga. Shatkaram, asan, pranayam, mudra, pratyahar, dhyan, and samadhi. Okay, and we talked about Shatkaram before. Shat means 6. There are 6 cleansings. Okay, now let's move on to the category of 8. That was a Hatha Yoga, 7 stages. And I'll start with the Ashtang Yoga. Rishi Patanjali's Ashtang Yoga. Hatha Yoga is for the body. Starts with the body, at least, cleansing of the body. Ashtang Yoga, Asht means 8. So 8 steps for the mind. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharna, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Yam is to control yourself, to restrain yourself. When it comes to you with the society, you with somebody else, restraining yourself. And we have learned earlier in the categories of 5s, there are 5 yams. Ahimsa, Satya, Ste, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. If you remember that. And Niyam means self-discipline. A yogi's life is fully disciplined. That kind of a control, not just control with the outer events, control within also. So there's a niyams are self-control, self-discipline inside me, shach. So this shach is to keeping your body clean, your mind clean, your speech clean, shach. Santosh, contentment. Tap, austerity. Swadhyay, study. Ishwar pranidhan, surrender to God. We learned these 5s in the category of 5. But over here, I just want you to remember the names again because they're part of Ashtang Yoga. 5 niyams. 5 niyams are Shauch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyay, Ishwar, Pranidhan. Okay? So 5 of them. Because often people say, what is the difference between Tap and Brahmacharya? Brahmacharya is a part of the yam and Tap is part of the niyam. From there you can understand what is the difference between these 2. So don't get confused. Try to go deeper into the understanding of these terms. The yogis, the great yogis, they came up with this system for our benefit. Not to confuse us, but to clarify any kind of a doubt which comes into our mind. Then asana. According to Ashtang Yoga, asana means sukham sthiram asanam. Any posture, practice one posture in which you can sit for a long time in meditation. That's asana. When your knees don't hurt, your back doesn't hurt. So that means you do enough hatha yoga according to the age and the stage of your life, so that your body is flexible and strong, and you can sit in one position without moving out of that position for hours. Lord Shiva, even we see Lord Krishna. I saw my own Guruji sitting in one position for hours and hours without moving. Can't we practice that just for a few minutes every day? If we call ourselves yoga students. Asana, pranayama. This is vital energy. Because of that, this body is sustained and connected with the mind. Know this. That's why consciously breathe before meditation. So in Hatha Yoga, there are several kinds of pranayams. In Raj Yoga, pranayam is just knowing this vital energy inside you. Then comes pratyaha. Your own senses, they should be in your control. We should know how many senses we have. Are they in my control, or am I slave to them? We should know that. Then dharana is the concentration, dhyan is the meditation, and samadhi is a super absorption. So these are the 8 parts of Raj Yoga, you can call it, or Ashtang Yoga, or Patanjali's Ashtang Yoga. So known by many, many names, but this is predominantly for the mind, cleaning the mind, having this mind in your control, and ultimately knowing yourself, who you are, and absorbing yourself in this super consciousness. That is the purpose. I talked about Ishwar Pranidhan, and we have talked about the bhakti and the devotion many, many times. Because devotion or relationship, we can absorb in God only if we love God. So in order to love God, majority of us, we need some kind of a form which is called Prathima. Prathima can be made out of 8 different things. It could be a statue, or it could be a picture, or it could be just any form. Artists, they can use a stone to make it. Okay? In Hindi, it's called pathar. They can use wood, daru mai. Daru means a wood. So wooden deity. Third is from any kind of a metal. That's called lohi dhatu. The fourth one is it can be a mixture of some kind of a adhesive. That's called lepye. Or they can etch it, which is called lekhni, etching it, or it's called chitramai. Or it can be made out of a sand, balukamai. Or it can be made out of some gemstones, money may. Money is the gemstones. And the 8th one is manomai, in your mind. So these are the 8 different ways. It's not that one is better than the other. Do you see God in that statue or not? Do you see God in that form or not? Do you see God in your mind or not? That is more important than the material it was used. Okay, so 8 kinds. So our scriptures talk about it again and again. Yesterday we read it in a couple of days ago in Bhagavad Puran. All these names. Then in Yoga Darshan by Rishi Patanjali, even though he warns us against these powers, these siddhis, but he does mention there are powers which will come to a yogi. Beware of these powers. You can slip back into the Maya, but you should know these powers will come so that you stay alert. And he calls them Ashta Siddhi. Anima, reducing your physical self to a size of an atom. Anu means atom, making yourself so small. Mahima, making yourself big. And in our epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, we read about all these great rishis, these great avatars. They use these powers not to show off, but for the benefit of the others. Avatar always has this one motive: benefit the masses, benefit somebody else. But if we start using these powers for ourselves and show off, that's not a yogi's mind. Third is called Garima, make yourself so heavy. We saw that in Ramayana. Angad showed that. Even Hanumanji showed that. Even Hanumanji's tail couldn't be lifted up. Became so heavy. That is Garima. Then Laghima. Laghima is weightless. Laghu, like a feather. Almost like a cotton fiber. The next siddhi is called Prapati. Go anywhere. Naraji goes anywhere. Perpetual saint. Keep on encouraging the devotees of God. He appears because he goes everywhere. Prapati. Prakamya, being able to obtain whatever you want. Prakamya. Material mind will think, oh my God, I got to have this power. Again, remember, these are not for selfish reasons. Ishitva, possessing lordship. Ish. And the 8th one is called Vashitva, being able to control the minds of others. Let me repeat these names again. Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima, Prapati, Prakamya, Ishtava, Vashitva. So together they are called Ashta Siddhi. Yogis have these. They don't show it because the minute they try to show, selfishness comes and these godly powers, they disappear. Okay. Now, in devotion or love to God, we see these bhavs in us. We are sitting and remembering God and think that God is the one, only one for me. There are some signs then. What are these signs? These are called Ashta satvik bhav. Satambha. Your body, mind, intellect, that part of your personality, it becomes stupefied in love. You love God so much you can't even move. I still remember when I was a little girl, we used to live in Shimla. One devotee, she used to come from Chandigarh. She was a wife of a professor over there. The love for the Guru, love for God was so much. Her hands will just become like this, frozen in Samadhi. Frozen, literally frozen. And Guruji had to open these fingers with his power. Nobody could open the fingers, the hands. They'll just become like this. Or her feet. I still remember a few times. It was time to leave. Go back to their town. Husband says, let's go. But her feet wouldn't move. Like a statue. Love for Guru and love for God. That is Satamba. You become like a pillar. I'm sure you might have experienced it. You're sitting, praying, can't even move. This is a bhava. If you have ever experienced it, just remember that it happens with the blessing of God and the Guru. Satam. In Mahabharata, you will read these, the queens of Lord Krishna. They want to know what really happened in Gokul. They're talking about it. They're asking the mother over there what really happened. And Lord Krishna, he wanted to hear those stories too. And he'll be like a stamba outside. Then second one is Shved. Shved means the body sweats due to the temperature of the love within, not a temperature of the room. Not the outer temperature, but the inner temperature is so much that you start sweating. You could be sitting in a sub-zero temperature outside, but you are sweating because love for God is so much. Romanch. Romanch is when you have goosebumps. You talk about God, read about God, think about God, and all of a sudden, you have goosebumps, your hair stand on the end. That's called a romanch. Then fourth one is swar bhed. Your voice becomes choked when you talk about God. You just can't. This is one of the Ashta Satvik Bhav. I have a sister in the class. She could never talk to Guruji over the phone. She'll get choked. The choking is not a weakness. The choking is the power of love. It doesn't even let you say Pranam Guruji. Then comes Vepathu. The body trembles in ecstasy. Vepathu. The next one is Vavarne. The color of the face fades due to the intensity of the sentiments. Vavarne. Then the seventh one is called Ashru. And I'm sure some of you have experienced this. You are singing the bhajan. You are reading Ramayana. And tears keeps on flowing. Ashru. Tears begin rolling out of the eyes profusely also. These are the tears which cleanse our mind. When we cry for the worldly people and worldly things, they take us towards the Maya and away from God. These tears take us away from the Maya towards God. Choice is ours. Do we want to go towards God or we want to go towards Maya? Do we want to cry for materialism or do we want to cry for God? Then the eighth one is pralaya. The mind and intellect to stop working and the devotee faints in a divine trance. Other people might think that this person died. Pralaya. So laya, lean ho jana in God, mind and intellect both. Let me repeat the names again. Satamb, Sved, Romanch, Swarbhed, Vepathu, Vevarne, Ashru, and Pralya. So this is Ashta Satvik Bhav, 8 signs of devotion. Then there is a Nav with Bhakti. So now we are starting the category of 9s. Nav with Bhakti. 9 ways we can increase the heat of this devotion. Shravana. Shravan means listen or read. Shravan. Kirtan. Sing. Kirtan. Smaran. Remember. Pad Seva. Do the service. Pad Seva. Archanam. Archana karna. Archanam. Vandanam. Vandana karna. Dasyam. Just become a servant of God. Sakhyam. Become a friend of God. And the 9th one is Atam Nivedanam. Just surrender. Surrender. When we have surrendered, how do we know whether we have surrendered or not? A surrender really means no fear. If we have any kind of a fear left in our mind, we have not surrendered completely. Okay? So Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Pad Seva, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atam, Nivedanam. Okay? You can start with one of them and see which other way you can move ahead. We don't have to do all of them. Whatever is, whatever suits your personality. Okay. Now let's go towards this body of ours. All the rishis, they tell us, Bhagwan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita talked about it, that there are 9 gates in that city of ours, Navdwar. What are these Navdwars? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils. So 6, 1 mouth, 1 opening in the genitals, and 1 anal opening. Okay, so these are the 9 openings, 9 gates on this city of ours. Okay, Navdwar. As a yoga student, our goal is to become one with God. But we are living in this Maya. So this Maya puts a lot of obstacles for us. So Rishi Patanjali talked about these obstacles in the category of 9. Number 1, Vyadhi, physical ailment. We become sick, our Attention is towards the sickness only, vyadhi. Satyan, mental dullness. So mind is not alert enough to think about the subtlety of life. Sanshay, doubt comes. I don't see God. I don't know whether God is there or not. Sanshay. Pramad, carelessness. I'll do it tomorrow. What is the hurry? There's so much time left. Carelessness. Alasya, laziness. Avirati, sensuous craving. Avirati. Bhranti darshan, delusion. Alabd bhumiktva, inability to reach goal. Keep on slipping back. Anavsthitvane, tendency to slide back. So you're not reaching goal because you're sliding down. Okay, so these are called antaray. 9 antarayas. Vyadhis, dhyan, sanshay, pramad, alasya, avirati, bhranti, darshan, alabd, bhumiktu, and anavsthitvane. Navnidhi. That word also comes in the scriptures. Navnidhi. Nidhi is some kind of a treasure. This treasure, who is the devata of treasure? Kuber. So these are belongings of Kuber. Mahapadam. Padam. Shank. Makr. Makr is a crocodile. Kachap. Tortoise. Kumud. This is a very precious stone. Neel. Neel is a sapphire. Kharv is a dwarf. And Kund, that is a jasmine. So these are Navnidhis. We are going to start Shiv Puran soon in our Monday's class. And you will learn these 9 names of Durga, which is called Nav Durga. In fact, when the Ashtami comes, I'll talk about it in detail. But today, write down the names. These are the 9 names of Durga. Kal Ratri, Skand Mata, Brahmacharini, Shail Putri. Let me repeat again. I know these are little difficult names. Kal Ratri, Skand Mata, Brahmacharini, Shail Putri, Katyayani, Chandra Ghant, Maha Gauri, Kushmanda, and Durga, of course. Okay, so 9 names. Now let's move back to the bhakti, the devotion in the categories of 10. These 10 are based upon the difference in the intensity of the bhakti. Intensity. Number 1 is a sadhana bhakti. Some effort is needed there in sadhana bhakti. You have to push yourself. Get up in the morning, clean your mandir. Make sure that you are doing all the kriyas. Sadhana bhakti. Next 2 steps are bhav bhakti and prema bhakti. So it's not only the body is doing the bhakti, not just the hands and the eyes, but your mind is also getting absorbed. Bhav bhakti and prema bhakti. Then there's a sneha bhakti, more intensity. Man bhakti, pranaya bhakti, rag bhakti. Attachment has happened now. Anurag bhakti. Every living moment you just absorbed in God. Just like Shabri was, day and night, waiting for Lord Ram. Bhav Vesh Bhakti and Mahabhav Bhakti. Mahabhav is Samadhi. So sadhana, bhav, prema, sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, vesh, and mahabhav. So these are the 10 bhaktis. In Hatha Yoga and in Raj Yoga, there was a term pranayama. So now I'm going to tell you 10 kinds of pranayams according to Hatha Yoga, because I told you Raj Yoga doesn't have many kinds of pranayams. Okay, it's only recognizing that vital energy in you. Hatha Yoga, pranayam. And these pranayams, the techniques to do these pranayams and benefits of to do these pranayams, we have it in our other lectures. But today, just write down these names. Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam. Purification of these nadis where the prans travel. Surya Bhed. Ujjayi. Bhasrika. Seetkari. Sheetli. Brahmari. Palavani. Murcha and Kevali. Let me repeat it again. Nadi Shuddhi, Surya Bhed, Ujjayi, Bhasrika, Seetkari, Sheetli, Brahmari, Palavani, Murcha and Kevali. So 10 kinds of pranayams according to Hatha Yoga. And last item I have for today's class, 10 dharma lakshans. Dharam. We get very confused. We think religion is dharam. No. These values, these characteristics, we got to learn how to develop our character if we want to call ourselves dharmic. So the Vedas, our other scriptures, they talk about, they say these are the 10 dharma lakshans. Number 1, akrodha, absence of anger. Okay. Asteya, non-stealing. Atam vinigraha, control of the mind. Dam, control of the senses. Dhi, purity of the intellect. Dhriti, firmness, persistence. Kshama, forgiveness. Satya, truthfulness. Shauch, purity. Vidya, knowledge. Paravidya or Parvidya, we learned that. Knowledge about this world. Knowledge about God. Par and apar. Okay. And Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita explained it in several chapters. So let me again repeat it. Akrodh asteya. Atam vinigraha dam. Dhi dhriti. Kshama satya. Shauch and vidya. So with this, I am going to end today's lecture. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.